What? Another North Carolina class video back to back? You're goddamn right. Ooh, yeah, baby! Hey everyone, Arkham Milkshake here. Today we are gonna take a look at my best girl of the North Carolina class, Washington.
チース指揮官、私はワシントン。姉貴が艦隊に加われば、昔のようにはいかないって言われてさ。スマイルの練習をやってるけど、もう、なんで言うこと聞かなきゃなんないの？
Washington is a super rare battleship from Eagle Union. She is of the North Carolina class and has only one sister, North Carolina herself. Her voice actress is Rika Abe, who also voiced Z-23 and Z-25. After looking at her voice acting roles, I feel like her involvement in Azur Lane is probably her biggest, because Z-23 is one of the main characters in Slow Ahead and arguably in the original anime. Her other roles are pretty small as she mostly voiced supporting characters, but she is the voice of Mizuki Makabe from the Idolmaster series, and she has several solo songs. Okay, so moving on to Naval References. For starters, let's talk about her design, and my god, I love Washington's design. She just looks so badass. I love the asymmetrical look with her sleeves, and I like how her top and leggings have these straps that connect to her skirt. She just looks very cool. Okay, enough of me fangirling over her. You see those three turrets? Those are the 16-inch 406mm guns, and we have seen them in Azur Lane, famously known as the good old Mark VI. If you look closely at the shoulder boards on her coat, it shows the rank of Rear Admiral, which was the rank of her first captain, John W. Wilcox Jr. When we think of Washington, South Dakota often comes into the picture. There are many references about their relationship, from her skills to her voice lines, and they all originated from one event, the Battle of Guadalcanal. During this battle, Washington, South Dakota, and other ships of Task Group 16.3 engaged in a battle mainly against Kirishima, Takao, Atago, and Ayanami. Washington first targeted Ayanami, resulting in Ayanami taking serious damage and even started a major fire. Shortly after, South Dakota's radar systems were disabled due to an error in the electrical switchboard room. This, along with the American destroyer screen being seriously damaged from the Japanese forces, pretty much left Washington alone. But she was still undetected from the Japanese fleet. South Dakota was forced to turn in front of one of the burning destroyers to avoid collision, which got the Japanese ships to target her instead of Washington, who used this opportunity to attack the Japanese ships. Her first target was Kirishima, and she scored about 9 hits from her 16-inch guns, which caused serious damage to Kirishima. She then shifted fire to Atago and Takao, who both tried to torpedo Washington and South Dakota, but all missed. Eventually, both sides withdrew, with the Japanese side losing Kirishima and Ayanami to Washington. This amazing feat by Washington is the reason why her skills are called Courageous Shelling and the Knight of the Iron Bottom Sound. The Iron Bottom Sound is just the name used by the Allied sailors of a certain area of the sea at Guadalcanal. The name was given because a lot of ships and planes sank there during naval warfare. The surprise attack by Washington is referenced by her increased damage dealt, and her intervention is referenced by her supportive effects on South Dakota. Apparently, the crew members of South Dakota and Washington were highly competitive, which was referenced in one of Washington's voice lines. But I can't really find any evidence to support this, so let me know in the comments if this is indeed true.
サウスダコタは相変わらずだな。指揮官見てくれ。私、あいつよりずっと可愛いだろ。どうやってうまく笑顔を作れるか。好きなことを考えてみるとか。そういえば、サウスダコタに勝ったことを思い出すと結構楽しくなるぜ。サウスダコタのピアノか。私はそこまで器用じゃないし、比べても仕方がないだろ。ちょっとだけ悔しいな。
Okay, so let's talk about skills. Her first skill is called Courageous Shelling. Every 20 seconds, there is a 70% chance to fire a special barrage at enemies. Now, I used to love this skill a lot. I think it consists of normal shells, as shown in the clip here, and it is amazing against mobs. However, I said used to because it's a RNG skill. 70% chance at today's standards is rather low, as we have other ships with 100% activation chance. And correct me if I'm wrong, but the barrage only covers a certain distance. As you can see here, only the first and third salvo hit the target, but not the second. However, I would say the biggest silver lining to these nitpicks is that she has yet to receive her character-specific augment. Hood had hers, which increased her barrage activation chance to 100%. So let's hope Washington will have something similar down the road. Her next skill is called Knight of the Iron Bottom Sound. When the health of South Dakota falls under 30%, increases own damage dealt by 20% and absorbs 30% damage taken by South Dakota. The damage taken through South Dakota's skill, the Stronger Shield, will not be transferred. South Dakota also avoids all lethal damage for 5 seconds. This can only occur once per battle. Now this is a very interesting skill. It definitely fits lore-wise, but let's be real, it's very hard to achieve below 30% health for South Dakota unless you are getting her hurt on purpose. I wouldn't recommend trying to achieve this because you would want all your ships to survive and have as much health as possible when clearing stages. It's still a very good skill in a pinch, but the chances of this specific scenario from happening is very low. It's also even harder because South Dakota has self-healing in her kit. Now let's talk about stats. Generally speaking, Washington is alright. She has the same stats as North Carolina in firepower, anti-air, reload and accuracy, but she has higher health than her sister. It's nice that Washington has the same high anti-air as North Carolina, but I feel that her sister makes use of this stat way better because it gets converted into increase in firepower. For Washington, the only way she increases her own damage is when South Dakota is gravely hurt, and as established earlier, the chances of this happening should be as low as possible. Okay, so let's talk about builds. Her build is pretty much the same as North Carolina. For main guns, you can go with damage focused guns instead of fast firing ones, as the barrage isn't a firing based skill. So you can go with the good old reliable Purple Mark 6, which is actually very fitting as it's her actual gun. Or the Rainbow Mark 7 if you got it from the Mirror Involution event. Another option is the 338mm from Research or Gear Lab. As for secondaries, I'd go with AP guns, and I think I've said this a lot of times in my past reviews, but I'm still gonna say it again for new viewers. So, AP shells travel faster, so they are very good against suicide boats. Since she can only use DD guns, you can go with the twin 128mm as a more accessible option. For more damage, you can use the twin 128mm or the twin 137mm for the highest damage, but much slower reload, both of which can be obtained from Gear Lab. There is also the twin 135mm which is SAP. It has the same shell speed as AP guns, but the rounds won't pierce through enemies. Alright, so let's talk about skins. As mentioned before, I love her default art. I'm not gonna repeat myself again, so I'll give this skin a solid 8.5 out of 10. Her next skin is called Jubilant Smile. Okay, let's just ignore how her chibi art looks very different from her default one. But my god, she is very pretty here. I love how they still stick with her having a coat over her, just like her default skin, and that dress. Look at all that intricate details on it, like it matches so well with her coat. And we have to talk about that smile because it makes you want to protect her at all costs. Though I think she'll protect you instead. Anyway, just beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Solid 9 out of 10. Alright, so what are my thoughts about Washington? I absolutely love her. I even used her in Operation Siren back then, and probably still am because I haven't touched that for super long, so my previous progress has not moved for a very long time. Anyway, she's amazing, and I feel like if Yosta can update Hood's kit with her augment, I think they can do the same for Washington, or at least I hope so. As of right now, her kit is very good, but very circumstantial. Her barrage needs a higher activation rate, and the chances of having South Dakota reach critical health is very low, unless you're doing this intentionally. Does this mean she isn't usable? Hell no, man. She still is, and she can help clear mobs really well with that barrage. She is amazing, just need a little bit of improvement and she's good to go. Alright, so there you have it. Here are all my thoughts about Washington. What do you guys think? Do let me know in the comment section down below. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Do leave a like if you guys did, subscribe for more awesome content, and I'll see you guys in the next video.